Hey friends, welcome to Sonido Cumbiaton, a podcast where we talk about arts, culture, politics, and all that mess, but with
an undocumented and queer perspective.
That's right. My name is DJ Sizzle, and I am joined by my amazing co-host,
Julio Salgado, y'all. Hello.
Hello, girl.
Hello. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this with a friend, a comadre, your tia, and follow us on social media at Cumbiaton_LA. Follow us, please. We're starting this new venture and we want everybody to see it. And the only way people can know about this is if you share it. And, shout out to everyone who has been sharing or reel or, who have actually seen the whole thing. Morris, shout out to Morris, hit me up on Sunday night on our way back from the Bay Area. And he was like, oh my God, thank you for the shout out, friend. So thank you all for doing all that good stuff on social media.
And shout out to all of our friends tuning in. This is our third ever live recording. So we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for listening. Again, if you haven't checked out the other episodes, we do have 2 more additional episodes along with a DJ set prepared by yours truly for Sonido Cumbiaton. We hope to do these bi-weekly, but at least monthly. You'll get something from us, okay?
Yes.
But it's super exciting, Julio, to be able to, again, bring this project to life with you. We saw each other this past weekend. Once again, girl, I think this is the most we've seen each other in quite some time.
Yes, which takes us to our first segment. Amiga, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, we hung out this weekend in the Bay. It was so beautiful. Yes, we this is the most we have seen each other lately, it's working out great. I actually went back to the Bay Area for Fabiana Rodriguez. Shout out to Fabiana, who is stepping down as the CEO of the Center for Cultural Power, the organization where I am part of. And, we had a surprise goodbye party for her. But I returned, girl, as a married womana. It was
with your husband.
with my husband. I know. It was weird and beautiful because, I took him around to my favorite spots. We drove in Friday and only Saturday was when we had the whole day. And, we went to the Castro. Shout out to Jesus, who came along to, brunch at the Castro. Then we went to the Mission. We hung out at Dolores Park. We went thrift shopping. We took the BART back from Berkeley. And every spot, I kept telling him, oh, my God, I did that over there. I partied over there. So it was beautiful. Yeah, that was a face that he was making the whole time when I was, pointing it out. But I like to reminisce. Eso, me gusta recordarme cosas.
Yeah, qué fuerte.
Yeah, and then we hung out with you all, and it was Doña Coco's birthday. So we went to that vegan restaurant. Shout out to the Golden Lotus in Oakland with the yummy vegan food. Thank you all
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, thank y'all for agreeing because my husband is vegan and he'd be wanting to try that place. So yeah, it was beautiful. It was great to see you all. Shout out to Lupita. Shout out to the whole crew over there. It was too fast. I need to go back for a whole week to really feel back in the Bay. But yeah, it was beautiful. ¿Y tu amiga cómo estás? ¿Cómo andamos?
Girl, same. It was really beautiful to, be able to share space with everyone. As you mentioned, it was my queen's birthday. So we took her, sightseeing to San Francisco. It's a city that she's always also really loves. I mean, how could you not? It's so beautiful. If you've ever gotten a chance to visit the Bay Area, you already know how gorgeous it is, from obviously like the tourist traps and all of that. I love me a good tourist trap. I don't care what people say. I'm over there with the pictures and everything, but also like checking out the local spots, which, if a lot of people don't know or haven't had a chance to visit the Bay Area, oh my goodness, the food game is out of this world. It's super delicious. And we really just enjoyed, like, we're big time foodies. We're actually contemplating starting like a little food blog thing just because
Oh,
we're always out trying new and different, restaurants, hole in the walls. I credit that to my boo, too. He's more of an adventurer than I have ever really been. But to my defense, like, we always had bomb food at home, you know what I mean? So it was
hay
really
comida en la
hard.
casa.
Hay comida en la casa, and like not just whatever comida, it was like bomb, like from scratch before the trad wives thing was a thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like we had like food like that at home. So it makes it really difficult for me to like go into somewhere and just be like, it's okay, you know? And I'm one of the people that gets kind of upset if like the food is not, what you want it to be, or if it gets like super overly hyped. But yeah, it's something that we're contemplating in doing just because, once again, there's such amazing food places all throughout California. And we took my mom out to one of these staples here in the Bay Area. It's called Skoma's, I believe. If you
You
haven't
were
checked it
saying.
out, super delicious, like old school, just I think it's like traditional Italian food, super bomb. And then, we celebrated her birthday then with you all. And then we celebrated her birthday with, our family that's in the Bay Area as well. So shout out to our gorgeous and beautiful friends and family that made, this birthday such a memorable one for my mama. And I don't know, friend, I feel like there's a lot of things that, our previous podcast episodes have touched on, which is, the unfortunate circumstances that a lot of us are living through. But these moments here of joy, these moments of celebration, right, are what continue to fuel my little heart, in the struggle too, being able to like connect with you all, see you all, laugh with you all, reminisce, right, about different times that Julio was up in the Bay in different circumstances, when we were all up in the Bay in different circumstances, pero ahorita somos, un poquito más level-headed, más tranqui, con nuestro chai ice latte and whatnot. By the way, Golden Lotus too, 10 out of 10, bomb.com for, I
Yeah.
think it was only your husband who was full on
Yeah.
vegan. Is that
Yeah.
correct? And everybody else was, they're meat eaters. But everybody was, they couldn't believe it because it was that great. It was
Yeah.
really, really good. How did you find that spot, Julio?
So when I lived in the Bay. Shout out to our friend Layel, Jesus, our friend Layel, would take us because they're vegan, and so they introduced us to that place. And side note, whenever you go to a vegan place and you have a cake that is not vegan, they won't let you, eat the cake because it's not a vegan cake. But aside from that, yeah, it was delicious. And yeah, I think I love that idea of writing about food. And it's just because you were a restaurateur, so who better than you? And I hope your mama also comes in and gives her feedback, because y'all are experts, on the food game for a while here. And so I'm excited to hear what else you have to say about. I'm interested. You said you went to a mariscos place also. Like, it was for me when I was living in the Bay Area, it was really hard to find good mariscos. But I guess I have to try the one that you went to, because it sounded like you were happy with that place. So what's
Uh,
up?
yeah, so this one in particular is kind of like, again, it's traditional Italian, so it wasn't necessarily like traditional like Mexican or Latin mariscos, but our homegirls at Las Guerreras Kitchen, they opened up a cevicheria in Swan's
Yes.
Market. It is bomb.com. If you're ever in the Bay Area near Oakland, please go ahead and try them. It's a migrant women led and owned business, and honestly, it is so delicious. Y'all need to go and try that. But enough maybe about food talk. We will return with some foodie tours because I mean we can go on and on and on and on and on about food, but we actually have a very special segment coming up in just a few seconds. Julio, do you want to introduce our next segment?
Yes, for the first time in Sonido Cumbiaton short history, we have our very first guest. Let me introduce the guests. Our guest today is Gaby Hernandez, Executive Director from ORALE Long Beach. ORALE Long Beach is a powerful intergenerational movement of immigrants abolishing oppressive systems and creating liberatory practices grounded in healing, love, and justice. They envision a world where immigrant communities live in dignity, feel safe, and have opportunities to thrive. Gaby's here to promote Stand Up for Immigrant Justice, which is happening at the Art Theater in Long Beach on April 11th. Hopefully, the day that this podcast comes out. Welcome, Gaby, to Sonido Cumbiaton. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can we get a
Hi everyone. Thank you for
love?
having me.
Thank you for being here. So, Gaby, tell us, let's talk about like Orale Long Beach. What is Orale Long Beach? And then we can talk about the comedy show.
Yeah, so Orale was known as LBIRC, and we transitioned into Orale because we're like we need to be connected to the values of our work, which is abolition and reinventing systems that could support our community. So we went through that rebranding, and so we feel more connected to our name, and also community can say it, right? Before our name was like LeBurk, and we're like, no, LeBurk is not, it's not it, it's not it. And so Orale just feels like it's part of our community. And so we're here in Long Beach organizing the immigrant community. This specific fundraiser is actually to support our rapid response network. So as you all know, the craziness of this administration is like intense, right? Like every single day there's a new attack that we're under. And so we had already done this during the first Trump administration. We just revamped our Orale's Community Defense Network, which is training volunteers to become rapid responders and so respond to ICE activity here in the city of Long Beach. And so this fundraiser is going to be supporting that work. You know, Orale has been doing amazing work in the community, and this is additional work that we had to do, right, to respond to the community's needs. And so we're asking for support, right? A lot of people come to us and they're like, what do we do? You know, we want to be activated, we want to do something. And this is one tangible way, right? Not only are you going to have fun and laugh, but you're going to be supporting an immigrant justice organization that is ran by immigrants for immigrant folks, right? And we don't have a lot of that. And so I'm just very proud of this event. There's going to be a lot of local artists from here in Long Beach, and we're going to have a special headliner who used to be with SNL, Melissa Villaseñor. And so
Yeah.
super excited to have her, a big star kind of be supporting our work. So really excited. Thank you for having me.
I love that. And I love, listen, and I have fond memories of the art theater. Art theater here in Long Beach is where I went to my first midnight showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and the first time I got buzzed. And so it's beautiful to be back here in Long Beach and connect with you all. Today I'm actually gonna go to Orale. We're gonna do some art, and so I'm excited. But Gaby, why do you think it's important to do a comedy show, right? Like, we talk about this administration just kind of creating so much chaos in our community, but why did you decide to do, I mean, you could have done an art show, you could have done, like a music show. Why did you pick comedy?
Yes, no, thank you for asking me that. I usually do a fundraiser for my birthday in support of the organization. And this time I was like, I want to be fun, like, especially in these dark times, right? Like, I think we forget that we are allowed to have joy. And that is actually a big form of resistance, right? Like, us enjoying laughing. And so it came out of that, right? Like, things are so dark that we need to create spaces where our people get to laugh, right? At the stupidity that we see out there, right? Like it's sometimes laughable, but it's like the ugly truth is the truth. And so that's when you get that reality check, like this is actually ridiculously funny. Like this doesn't make sense. And then you realize actually this is really impacting our communities, right? And so we wanted to do a comedy show to bring people together and, have unity and laughter amidst the craziness that is happening. And also to show that we this is our form of resistance to laugh with each other and build community.
100%, 100%. And, that's so exciting that you have Melissa Villaseñor. Love her. What are some of the other comedians that are going to be part of it?
Yeah, we have a few people lined up, and they're all local comedians here in Long Beach. We actually have Gigi and Sylvia, who are like local stars here in Long Beach and have been working with us for a while, putting events together. They're actually going to be the MCs of the night, so we're really excited to have them. And then we're going to have Los Almos as the music performance. So they're also a local band. So not only, you're going to be supporting local folks too, so it's super, super cool. And then we have other artists. So we have a few. Saul is one of them. And then we have Angel, who's another local artist. So we have about 3 local comedians, and then we have Melissa, and then a performance. And we're also going to have an auction. So not only can you come and have fun, but also walk away with some nice, items. And actually, thank you, Julio, for donating some of your art. So if you're interested, Julio's art is going to be part of the auction. So we have another few things on there that hopefully brings folks some joy.
Yes, amazing. Thank you so much, Gaby. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward, to coming out. It's going to be date night with me and the husband. So we're going to look forward to some laughs. Where can people get tickets? Again, this might come out, on April 11th, but we're going to make sure and post it on our Instagram. But where can people actually show up today if they're listening to this?
Yes. Preferably, to have a good count, please buy your tickets online, and you can buy them at bit.ly/Orale Comedy. It's also on our social medias, and you can follow us at Orale LB. And it's going to be on our bio. But people can buy it the day of. So we are going to have tickets for that day. So please join us if you're down here. But yeah, folks can purchase online or in person that day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gaby, for stopping by, being our first guest ever in Sonido Cumbiaton. I'm so looking forward to going to the comedy show. And everybody come support ORALE Long Beach. They're doing amazing work here in Long Beach, my city that I rep. And see you on April 11th, Gaby.
Thank you so much. See you all there.
Bye.
Nos vemos. Thank you for coming on. Adios. Uh-huh. Y'all, that was so beautiful. Thank you again, Gaby, for joining us. Something that she said right at the beginning of her statement or, her segment here was that ORALE is an immigrant rights organization that's run by immigrants for immigrants, and that's rarely ever seen. Yeah. And I just want to highlight that again and say how beautiful that truly is and the importance of having these spaces for us by us, right? Which is another reason that Julio and I also decided to make this podcast, right? There's so many people out here like doing important work, right? And I think it's really beautiful for all of us to, support one another, share our platform, share the work that we're doing with one another, because again, as Gaby said, right, these are really dire times, and sometimes you just need a little bit of laughter to get through, the day, and maybe the next 4 years, and maybe, an entire lifetime. But
Girl, don't say that.
What ORALE Long Beach is doing is pretty great. And hopefully we'll be able to get to see some behind the scenes since Julio will be there.
Yes, I'll be posting some reels on and stories for the gram. But yeah, oh my God, Sizzle, we had our first guest.
Yay! Amazing.
Amazing. Okay, well, for our next segment.
What? The next what?
Our next segmento. Nuestro siguiente segmento. Nuestro siguiente segmento. Our next segment that we call Hot Tropic. For today's hot topic, for the past 2 segments, we've been sort of, diving into some of the dark moments that we're dealing as a community. But today we thought we were going to talk about something silly yet problematic, but something that is it's happening, and I'll just go ahead, and the topic is our problematic faves, right? The last couple of weeks, I've been getting this video with the one and only Gwen Stefani, who has been appearing on this ad for the Christian prayer app, Hallow. I ain't no hollow back, girl. Get it? Gwen Stefani, hollow back. Okay, I'll keep that. But people have been sending it to me because friends that know me know that I'm a big No Doubt fan, right? I've been a fan since I was in high school. So I'm 42. You do the math. I've been a fan for a long time. And people now are sort of kind of taken aback at the way that Gwen Stefani and really many other celebrities have been turning on us, right? And necessarily like talking smack about us, but like their political views might not align with ours. And from Vanity Fair, I'm gonna read this excerpt from Vanity Fair. The former No Doubt singer recently praised actor Jonathan Rumi for his interview with right-wing talking head Tucker Carlson, leading some online commenters to label Gwen Stefani a right-wing grifter. Rumi, who plays Jesus Christ in the series The Chosen, discussed Christianity with Carlson, drawing Stefani's admiration. So everybody's been saying, like, go get your girl. You know, she's out here being MAGA. And my reply to that, and listen, I'm not gonna sit here and defend Gwen Stefani as you're wearing an LA Dodgers fan, and we'll get into it, the Dodgers problematic situation. And by the way, I meant to take this off. I am also wearing my No Doubt shirt. I can pull it out. I'm doing a
Mucha
review.
mucha
Gwen
ropa,
Stefani.
una vuelta, una
We thought we were gonna
vuelta.
be problematic, but you know, it was funny as a fan of the band. You know, Gwen Stefani has always, you know, people are finally catching up to, like, Gwen has always been this sort of like Catholic, you know, wants to get married, like always, like, a lot of her music, if you really know No Doubt, her music is about wanting a simple kind of life, wanting to get married, wanting tradition. You know, and so for many years, like, she used to wear this like Virgen de Guadalupe outfit, and this before the video where she did her solo, for that video where she's like pegando la piñata. But she's always had her Christianity, you know, and her Catholicism in her sleeve, right? However, going and certain, you know, like, the thing that she's never been super open about politics per se, but her going and commenting on this dude's, you know, video, it's like, girl, who are you following? You know, are you MAGA? What is happening, right? And like questioning a lot of people, just saying like, oh, she's problematic now because of this. But my take on this is that I don't look to people like Gwen Stefani for politics. I'm sticking with the music. What do you think?
Girl, are you shocked? Is anyone
That's the
shocked? Is
thing.
anyone surprised?
Exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, are people surprised? Like, you know, we're not even gonna get into the whole cultural appropriation that Gwen Stefani has been known for.
No, I think we absolutely should, because what the heck? Like, you know, I think Snow the Products said it
Yeah.
best. You know, she had an excerpt, you know, from a segment that she also has. She has her own podcast, and like she called it for what it was. Like, y'all are mad for Gwen Stefani being a white woman in America. Like, y'all are really surprised in that. Like, not only did she culturally appropriate a whole lot of styles since the 90s, right? The chola aesthetic, the you know, when she tried to be Harajuku, right? When she tried to be Rasta, right? Like, so it's been an issue, and I think it's one of our things that, you know, we do have to, like, you know, you can't just separate the two, because that ultimately has led to the ultimate form of Gwen Stefani, right? Which is this whatever version that we are getting of her. But it's not surprising, you know, it's definitely not surprising. I'm not like, oh my God, I could have never seen it coming. Like, no, girl, I saw it coming a mile away. I saw it coming in the 90s, you know what I mean? But I agree with you, Julio. I think, you know, we necessarily can't expect everyone to be wokey woke and, you
Mhm.
know, super like spot on with everything it is that they're saying, right? At the end of the day, people are humans, right? We need to be talking to each other, right,
Yeah.
about this stuff. And again, Snow the Product said it the best. Like, we're at fault, you know, for putting these people up in pedestals without really like checking it, or without really like calling it in, right? So I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about that, clearly. But again, you know, like, I'm talking my smack with a Dodgers hat on, because, you know, I listen, anyone from LA knows this. No matter where you're from, no matter where you're at, you are going to rep your city, right? And it just so happens that the Dodgers end up being that symbol for a lot of us, right, who grew up in LA. I usually have this, kind of like comparison, right? Like, Puerto Ricans are really super proud to be from the island, right? So you'll find them, and I say this because my boo's family is Puerto Rican as well. So siempre va a haber una bandera. Someone's always going to have, something repping the island, which for that, I absolutely 100% agree with, right? Because of all the things that have happened in the island and all the resistance that has gone down in the island, right? But secondly, we have people from LA. People will come into LA and just be like, oh, what's up? Is there a Dodger game? Just because everyone is in Dodger gear. But for us, that is one of the things that kind of just, if you're from LA, you know this, you're just going to rep the Dodgers. You're just gonna rep the Lakers. I don't know anybody who reps the Clippers, but nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No beef at all. But it's just something that people from the hoods do, right? So if y'all didn't know, our problematic faves to hometown quote unquote heroes, the Dodgers, who just won the World Series last year, they actually got invited to I don't even want to say it because like it hurts my heart. They got invited to the White House for an annual dinner that they do, right? And who do we know that is in the White House that is front and center of crazy, just everything that's happening, right? And they accepted this invitation, which came to a surprise to a lot of people. And it came as a heartbreak to a lot of migrant folks, right? Because again, like, people, if you've ever been to a Dodger game, you already know, right? It's all, mostly Latin folks that go, right? For sure in the left and right field pavilions, that's where you will find, I was joking. I was like, damn, I'll laugh if like, the left and the right field pavilions are just empty because people are so pissed, right? I don't necessarily foresee that happening, and I'll tell you why. I think there is, unfortunately, still a lot of devotion, a lot of loyalty to the team. But as you know, we've talked about it, right? And I saw your face kind of when, were you surprised? No, were you really surprised? No, but it's because, the history of the Dodgers and the Dodger Stadium as a whole, right, is very dark as well. So if you don't know, Chavez Ravine, where Dodger Stadium is at, has been historically known for their, really messed up eviction of people that live there, right? Homes got shut down. People were forcefully removed from their homes to build a stadium, right? Which is where we all go and watch a game and, have fun and, up until very recently used to tailgate, right? So son cositas así que you sometimes overlook or try and forget, right? The history of what has been happening, but it's always been there, And again, to go back into, quoting Snow the product, like we're at fault because we're not checking it, right? We just kind of let it slide. And I think that's one of the things that, correct me if I'm wrong, Julio, or this is just my take, but is what is currently happening right now, right? Like people, if we don't speak up and we just let things slide, then people are just going to get, used to just doing what they want. And according to the Dodgers team president, San Casting, he told the LA Times, this has nothing to do with politics. For everyone in this room, this is about what they get as a reward for being the world champions, getting to the White House. I think there are probably people in this room who have different points of views on politics. No one thought this trip is about politics. It's about celebrating their world championship.
I made that face when you said, didn't see it coming about the Dodgers. Because come on, the reality is that a lot of the people that go are Dodgers fans, and you mentioned those Latinos, some of them also voted for Homeboy who's in the White House. So, we can sit here and talk about, again, right, like the question is like, can we separate the art from the artist? You know, we can also talk about Vicente Fernandez when he refused a liver transplant, fearing it could come from a homosexual or an addict. We can talk about Paquita del Barrio, who said that she would rather see children die than be adopted by same sex couples. You know, she later apologize for that. And the big question is like, are we supposed to, what do we do with that, right? What do we do with this icons that represented so much of us growing up, including Gwen Stefani for, you know, teenage Julio? I think at the end of the day, if at this point in 2025, is that we have got to stop idolizing these figures, and thinking that they are going to give us the answers for everything politically, or they're going to be politically correct, or they're going to agree on our politics. Part of me as an artist is like, just make your art, girl, and stay over there, don't say anything. But as an artist that makes art around this, I think it's important for me to speak up. But I have made art, all of my art has been about this. A lot of the folks that we look up to, even, you know, people in sports, singers, this is not their thing. They just want to perform, and that necessarily, like, the players just want to play, right? That doesn't necessarily tell us about politics, or their politics. And so at this point in 2025, we need to let go of this hope that a celebrity is going to come and say the thing that is going to make everything all right. You know, there's even, I would say this sort of like unfair expectation from all this the current pop divas, the current, you know, people who we're listening to the radio. One day they're going to say something dumb, and if you are thinking that it's going to be for the betterment of politics, I very much doubt it. These are not the people. I look to people like you, Sizzle. I look to my community. I look to organizers who are educating me, because we didn't know what we knew, you know, from the get-go. We had to learn, but that's because we are deeply committed to these communities. I don't think a lot of the celebrities are. And so you know, to kind of wrap this conversation of our favorite problematics, are you going to continue wearing your LA hat? Am I going to continue to listen to No Doubt? Perhaps, you know, like it's part of who we are. But I will say, you know, that while we're doing that, we also need to uplift other artists, other singers. I don't know if other teams in your case, right? But I think the again, I just want to take what I've learned from all of this is that I'm not going to sit here and defend every single person that I'm a fan of, because, girl, all of our favorites are problematic. Like,
All of our faves are problematic, including you and I.
girl, girl, that part. Watch people clip this up, and, you know, maybe one day when we get a lot of views, this is gonna come back to
No,
us.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna sit here throwing stones and act like I'm
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? Act like stones haven't been thrown my way either. Like, nobody is perfect, and I
Yeah.
completely understand that. But I think to your point, right, as we wrap this up, I think there are a lot of ways in which, you know, again, we go back to how you support, you know, your community versus how you support your problematic faves, right? Like, does it mean that I'm going to throw away all of my Dodger gear, all of my, you know, everything? No, because that's a lot of money I spent on Dodger freaking memorabilia, right? Are you going to throw away all of your No Doubt albums, drawings, paintings, memories, right? No, you're not, because it's something that is still near and dear to your heart, right?
Yeah.
And within that same breath, I think it's important for us to continue to be like, yes, okay, we all have our problematic like faves, right? Which we are not giving the power to make political decisions for us. We're not giving them the power to, you know, be the holders of, you know, hope any type of fight in this way. But hey, if you need your just release, right, as a music person, you need to throw on your headphones and bump something. Is it going to be Gwen Stefani? Is it going to be something else, right? Am I going to go to a Dodger game, or am I going to prefer to put my money somewhere else, right? And these are all options that you can make, right?
Yeah.
Individual, small, but impactful and meaningful choices that you can make, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is not to judge anybody, right, who is still listening to the problematic faves, because there's a million, and this is all that you know, like, the enfrente. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? All these major corporations, everyone is owned by somebody in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. And that's also something that we have to remember, right? But I think the important thing is, again, to continue to keep grounded and continue to support your local and community based, whether it's musicians, whether it's artists, whether it's athletes, right? These are the people that we can continue to make and give platforms to, give spaces to, right? So people like Gaby of ORALE Long Beach, right? These are the folks that we want to continue to uplift and highlight. So thank you again, Gaby, for joining us. We really hope that you are able to check out their ORALE Long Beach comedy show coming up. And Julio, I know you will be there as well.
Yes.
So please feel free to send us, right, different people that we can either highlight or that are doing amazing work within our community. Julio, thank you again for our third ever episode, girl. It's getting a little bit more flowy. It's getting a little bit more go-y. And we're super excited, y'all. So muchísimas gracias. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. Julio, if you want to have any last words for our listeners.
Yeah, thank you all so much again for everybody who's been sharing the reels. We're learning, y'all. We're slowly but surely getting there. We have so many plans for Sonido Cumbiaton, and listen, this is an all immigrant, undocumented team, and we're doing our best. So thank you for the support. Thank you for the comments. It really means a lot to us that to have a community that is supporting our craft. Porque nos gusta hablar. My husband is like, girl, ustedes están chismeando ahí in the camera. I was like, yes, it's an art. The art of the blab
The chisme.
is a chisme is something. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thank you, to Gaby. Thank you, Sizzle. Thank you to our producers, Pablo and Jesus in the production booth, for coming along in this ride. And stay tuned for our next episode, and sign on to all of our social medias and share, and keep sharing it.
Yes, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Cumbiaton_LA on Instagram, TikTok, and obviously on YouTube. So muchísimas gracias. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Julio, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Tell us how the ORALE Long Beach show goes. And gracias, everyone. And please continue to support small businesses, community-run businesses, and of course, don't forget to support your local immigrant creatives. Nos vemos next time. This is Sonido Cumbiaton.
Don't call your ex. Bye.